Hi guys, so today we're going to be making this really cool optical illusion. It's really funky to look at, but it is actually not that complicated to make. You can scale it up or down depending on how difficult you want to make it, but let's get started. So you're gonna need a piece of white paper. This is a 9 by 12. You can use a regular piece of computer paper. You're going to need a ruler, a pencil, and I have an eraser to get started. So let's get started by taking our pencil and finding the relative center of the artwork. It doesn't have to be dead center, but I'm just going to kind of try to pick where I think is the center of the paper, and I'm going to make a dot. Again, this is all relative. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to draw from the center dot to the corner on the left-hand side of the paper. Okay, go ahead and draw my line. All right, now I'm going to go from my center dot straight up and straight down. So I'm going to make a horizontal line across, a vertical line across the paper. So I'm going to go up and down right through that center dot. Okay, now I'm going to go not all the way to the corner, but about halfway between this line and this line. So maybe about halfway there, I'm going to draw a line from my center dot halfway up. So I made a little kind of mini triangle right here. And then I'm going to complete it. Then I'm going to go from my dot to my corner. Okay. So I've got a larger triangle, two smaller triangles, and a vertical line running through my center. Okay. So now I'm going to take my ruler and draw a horizontal line running right through the center of my dot. I'm going to take my ruler again. I'm going to go back to that center point, and this time I'm going to my far right corner. There we go. Again, just like I did up here, I'm going to find the relative center of this part of my square and put a little line there. And then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to go from my dot down to my line. And then I'm going to complete it by going to my corner, just like I did on the opposite side. So corner, corner down. Okay, so I've mirrored these on this side, I've mirrored these on this side, and now I am getting ready to draw my optical illusion. So I'm going to start in my top right hemisphere of my paper. I'm going to start in this triangle right here. And I'm going to go very close to my dot, and I'm going to go over like this, like a rainbow. Okay, get it really close so everybody can see it. Then I'm going to pick up right where my pencil left off, but this time I'm going to go under, just in the next circle. I'm going to go under. Let me show you closer. See? Over, under. Now I'm going to go back to where my pencil left off, and I'm going to go over this time, Once again, let me get closer so that you can see it. So over, under, over. And you guessed it, I'm going to go back to where my pencil ended, and this time it's an under. So over, under, over, under. The next one is an over, going right back to where that pencil ended. And then an under. and then another over, followed by an under, followed by another over, and then a final under to connect those two lines. So now I have this really cool squiggle. It looks like an egg. That's the best way I can describe it, like an oozing egg. Okay. If you want to make it more complicated, you don't move that far up the line. You're going to start again. We're going to draw this pattern. If you want to make it more complicated, you're going to draw it closer to my original egg, because that will create more layers going up. But we're going to make it kind of simple for today. So I'm going to leave about a little bit. Let's see, let's measure. Maybe about a half an inch, 3/4 of an inch between the two. And then I'm going to do another over. So since this one is an over, this next line is going to be an over as well. And then I just repeat the process. So over, under, over. Okay, so wherever I have an over, I have an over. Wherever I have an under, I have an under. Over, okay, under, over, under, over, and then I'm going to end in an under just like I did on the other one. I'm going to repeat this process a few more times, okay? Leaving some space between the two, getting a little bit bigger as I go out. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under. So now I've connected it, and I'm going to go ahead and do it again. Over, under, over, under. Notice I'm getting bigger as I go. Over, under, over, under, over, and under. All right, so I have this section where I'm at the very edge. So I can't draw another line over line here because I've already come off my paper. So I'm going to imagine that the line picks up with an under from right here. So I have an under, okay? Leave that guy, again, because this is this piece connecting to this. Over, under. This is pretty much the end. Same here, okay? I'm going to go over and assume that it kind of goes off my paper, okay? I'll get a little bit closer so that you can see that, right? All right. And then I'm going to just do a quick under here, a tiny over here, okay? This is another under. This will be my last one for all of these sections. Again, I'm going to assume the line goes off the paper and comes back. And then one more under that goes off the paper, and I am done. All right, so that is my optical illusion. Okay. Now I've got my Sharpie. You can use colored pencils, you can use Sharpies, you can use Crayola markers, you can use whatever you want to do this section. Okay, the first thing that I found, it's better to work in sections to color, because you're going to be doing an every other, like a checkerboard effect. So I'm going to start by drawing a straight line here to my center dot. And I'm going to trace the outer lines for the sections that I am drawing. So I'm going to start with this section. So I've traced out the lines of this section. I'm going to start by coloring this part in. So I do this, and then just very quickly shade this part in. Okay, so you see, I started with my center, then I skipped a section, then I colored in a section. So this will be a skip, right? And then my last outer part will be colored in. So again, that checkerboard effect. Okay. All right, color that in there. So section 1 of my sections is done. So now I'm going to go back and trace my next section that I'm going to color in. So now I'm going to be working on this section. It's going to be the opposite of this section. So because I colored this bottom one in, I leave this one blank. And instead, I'm going to color in the second section. See, to get that checkerboard effect. So if this one's colored, this one stays white, and this one is white, so that means this one is colored. Okay, and then this one is colored, so this one stays white, and then I color in this big guy up here. Sharpies work well for this project because they coat and kind of spread on the paper pretty well, but if you don't have a Sharpie, again, pencil works just fine. Colored pencils work great. It's really whatever you have. That's the great part about this project. You can use whatever's around in your house. So now I'm going to draw a line on this line. So because this was colored, this was white, this next piece right here, this tiny piece gets filled in, and then I skip. And then I fill in. So if this is white, this is blue. This is blue, this is white. So if this is white, you guessed it, this is blue. And so on and so forth until you get the entire thing done. Again, it's really important to work in sections. If you don't work in sections, then the pattern can get messed up. So, and the pattern is the key to the optical illusion. So you really want to make sure that you're working in sections so as you don't mess it up. Okay. So see, I've done these 3 sections. I would then continue on, right? This would be white, so this one would be blue. This one is white, so this one would be blue. Trace that line out. This one is white, so this one would be blue. And then this would be blue right here. Okay, so that's how we end up with this. This is what we will look like when we go all the way across. So I traced this part in black so that you could see where I started. So we have this alternating pattern here, right? Rotating through. Every other piece goes in the opposite direction until you are done. Good luck, everybody.